More than a year ago, I predicted that it will happen in 2026. So if you want to take advantage of this reversal in policy for the 15 months without period, you need to watch this. So the reversal of the 15 months without period is finally here. Many private property owners have been waiting for this since that they announced that they will remove it. The idea is to cash out on the private property, purchase a fully paid HDB and keep the rest of the cash proceeds. Hi everyone, my name is Ron and I build property wealth using the OWN method and evaluate properties using the asset framework both for myself and my clients. If you need a consultation for your property planning, feel free to reach out to me and we can have a chat on what you should look out for during this planning. In today's video, we'll be covering market insights that you need to know before executing that property plan. We'll look back into what caused this policy to take place, what happened since then, why the policy is reversed now, and most importantly, who stands to gain the most for this policy reversal. All this will form the basis of the insights that you need to execute your plan. If you have watched my videos before and yet to subscribe, do take a moment to subscribe now so you will not miss another video upload. But if this is the first time you are watching my video and you like property content like this, I'll be uploading new topics every week from now, so like and subscribe and stay tuned for more. First, why the policy was implemented. First of all, the policy was implemented in 2022, 30th of September. Back then, the HDB prices was rising rapidly. We just got out of COVID about 2 years earlier. Demand for homes escalated due to the shortage of supply. HDB BTO was bottlenecked as construction halted during the COVID lockdown period and needed time to slowly regain its pace. So to let first-time buyers have a chance at the resale HDB, the government implemented this essentially to block out the cash-rich private property owners who just offloaded their private properties. So these private property owners will have to wait 15 months before they can come into the resale HDB market. That created some breathing space for the first-time buyers or the HDB upgraders who needed more space at that time. Of course, back then, many private property owners still went ahead selling their private property and rent for the 15 months. Some appealed and many decided to stay put, continue living in their private property because nobody wants to pay cash to the rent. At this point, we need to take note that for those age 55 and above, they actually can sell their private property and go straight into the HDB resale market to buy a HDB if the HDB they purchase is 4-room or smaller. Of course, some owners who I consulted, they are more than 55 years old, but they do not want to move into a 4-room flat, so they decided to stay put as well. Now, why is the policy being reversed now? As the BTO supply resumed and HDB further ramp up the upcoming supply of BTOs between 2021 to 2025, they ramp up. HDB committed to supply more than 100,000 units of BTOs. On top of that, the HDB resale prices have stabilized. In fact, the price index for first quarter 2026 recorded a 0.1% dip, and for second quarter 2026, another 0.3% dip in the price index. So 2026 has recorded the first dip in almost 7 years since 2019. And on top of that, BTO MOP supply is also coming back into the market. If you recall, HDB resumed key collection in 2021. So that means that the first batch of the newly MOP BTOs has came out this year 2026. And going forward in 2027 and 2028, you expect even more MOP BTOs coming into the resale market. You can watch the video that I uploaded 1 year ago citing the removal of this 15 months without policy because of the rising MOP numbers. You may think that 0.1 and 0.3% dip is very marginal, but if you think about it, this decline is the overall HDB market price index. So if you notice the headlines, $1 million HDB continue to thrive. Buyers are still willing to pay top dollars for prime location HDBs. As the highest transactions, HDB continues to hit the headlines. So if these high prices are being recorded as part of the price index, other HDBs must have recorded a bigger dip than 0.1%. So they will balance out to 0.1% decline and 0.3% decline respectively. So of course, not all HDBs are equal, and if you want to know what are the indicators for HDBs that will have a better appreciation, you can also check out my past video over here where I share indicators where you can spot the HDB that will still likely to appreciate stronger than others. If you have not watched it, you can watch it after this video. Remember to subscribe. So now that we have talked about why the policy was in place and why it was removed, now let's talk about who stands to gain the most from this policy reversal. For this, I'll break into two different segments. First, we'll look at it from a HDB owner's point of view, and then we will look at it from a private property owner's point of view. As a HDB owner, you may think that HDB demand will suddenly surge and prices will increase exponentially. Logically, demand will definitely increase. However, the already high supply will also see even more supply now that more people want to sell their HDB to the private owners. So if you look at the market as a whole, that basically evens out the difference. However, here we want to spot the irregularity of the market. So who are the ones who can still remain stiff on their pricing and expect to still move their property? First of all would be the 5-room flat or larger. The biggest reason is because the downstream buyers who are 55 years old and above have already had access to the 4-room flats or smaller. Those who are stuck are actually those who wanted larger flats like the 5-room or even the EM and the EAs or the jumbos. There are also the younger buyers who wanted to buy the EM and renovate them into their dream home. The older ones, on the other hand, may be looking for a jumbo for bigger living spaces for that multi-generation living. So if you're someone owning a larger HDB, you may be the person who can leverage more on this policy reversal. Next would be those HDB in prime locations. The private property owners who sold off their private property may want to trade their private property for a more convenient, more centralized location. So mainly they are going for that convenience upgrade. Again, you can watch my previous video if you want to know the indicators to spot that HDB with a better appreciation. Now for private property owners, especially the mass market condos and the EC owners, do expect more condo supply coming around you. These are the people who were previously trapped in their private properties when they wanted to move to HDB but the policy stopped them. As you're watching this video, they are preparing and planning for their property exit. But honestly, you don't have to worry. Property planning is not just about who moves faster. It is more about the data that is hiding from plain sight. If you have the data and know where to look, ultimately you will still gain more from the correct next move. If you're planning to make a move and need consultation, connect with me and I'll be happy to help you. Every policy shift creates opportunity. If we have the clarity, we can seize it and benefit from it. That's all I have for you today. Remember to subscribe and I'll see you soon.